Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is The Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games and I'll hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is F1 2019, episode number 5. We're at Baku in Azerbaijan. Street circuit, super tough track. But it's one that I'm actually pretty good at. In F1 2018, it was my career best finish. Also, Road to Glory series with Williams of 4th place. Led the race for a while. But it was a very different season than F1 2019. F1 2018 was lots and lots of oversteer. If you could find the stability, you could get around pretty well. F1 2019 is the opposite with a lot of understeer. And because of that, a track like this, it makes it so difficult to get around some of these really, really tough, tight corners. And with the Williams, yeah, it's rough. Our aero package is absolutely showing everything it's got to the world. I do have 2 upgrades that were done this time. It is a front downforce and rear downforce upgrades. But you could see our aero is still half of what Racing Point and Alfa Romeo are at. We are just lagging so far behind. The car is so far behind that I've had to sacrifice a lot of straight line speed to get it around the corners. And this has that crazy long straight where I'm losing 8 to 9 tenths of a second on that straight. Just on that straight. But it's the only way to get around this track. So don't expect any fireworks. I will be at the back of the grid, unfortunately, again. But hopefully I can at least keep it clean. I've never had any stability issues. I have not lost the rear end once in practice. Doesn't mean I haven't hit the wall, but that has always been about understeer and not oversteer. So let's head into our one-shot qualifying. We'll see what we can do. I was a full 2 seconds off the pace because of those tight corners. I was losing 3/4 tenths in one. I was losing half a second in another. I was losing a few seconds through the castle section. The half second just before it. And it was adding up to 2 seconds a lap that I was down. Now, I'm making those corners so much easier, keeping pace so much better, that I'm just about there where I need to be until you hit that straight.
Welcome to qualifying here in Azerbaijan.
Now I was losing about 3 tenths right through here every lap. And half a second right before it. So right through that little section, that sector, I was losing 8-9 tenths of a second.
An illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
My perfect lap, I was still a tenth off of where Russell was. Still couldn't match it. But that was a tenth instead of 2 full seconds. But that was that perfect lap, and that did involve, I think, 1 or 2 flashbacks where I was really pushing it at the edge. I can't do that in the race. But my race pace, instead of being 2 full seconds off, I think I'm down to about half a second to a second off the pace. That's still too slow. So let's give her a shot, do what we can do. We are ready for our one-shot qualifying. Expected position is 20th. See just how much understeer I'm facing compared to Charles Leclerc, who's got the ghost at the moment. This is not where I'm losing all the time, though. It's coming up here in a little bit, starting with the next sequence of turns. That's where I begin to lose time. Hamilton now the ghost with the most. This is where I was losing half a second. Much better through there than I was, but I'm still fighting it tooth and nail. Here's where I'm losing. Continuing to lose time. And that's, you can see how far away the ghost has pulled from me. That was not good. Shifted too early, got too much curb. Cost myself some time on that one. The rest of it's been mostly the car. Certainly not a flawless lap. And you can see they're gone now. I don't have the speed through here. I made a couple little mistakes. I lost probably 4/10 on the lap compared to what I was able to do my best occasion in practice. So I was about 4/10 down from that. But then all my speed loss really comes right at the end. And that's 1 second down on my teammate.
Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
And you can see just how far down he is compared to everybody else. The Williams is right where it belongs. So, back on top, it's Hamilton, Vettel, Leclerc, Bottas, Perez in 5th, ahead of Gasly. Verstappen all the way down in 9th place with the Alfa Romeo splitting the two Red Bulls. And somehow Gasly ahead of Verstappen. For me, my best hope in this race is DNFs to give me a little boost and move me up the order. I don't expect to be out of last place. Like I said, I'm struggling for pace. So is Russell, but he seems to get more out of the car than I do. He seems to be less affected by the aero and chassis issues than I am. Remember, our aero and chassis, the aero is, half of what anybody else has. The chassis is also considerably worse than what anybody else has. I still have not picked a rival, reason being, at this point, the car is not capable of beating anyone, and I'm still not even matching my teammate. So until I get up there and actually start getting competitive, the rivalry will just cost me more than it's possible to gain. So at this point, as is the case in real life for Williams, my only rival is my teammate. In this case being Russell. For him, he's absolutely crushed Kubica this year. I've been closer than Kubica has quite a few times this season, but this looking like the kind of race where I'll be similar to Kubica's performance.
Try to make up for it in the race.
Alright, well, we're going to head into the race week Sunday for the race itself and just get to it. Now, I can run clean laps at least. I got this set up such that I can run clean laps, but in order to get that, it took so much away from that straight line speed that you need desperately here. Otherwise, I couldn't get around the corners.
This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history.
Yeah.
With controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a
controversry behind the safety car, as in Vettel just driving into Hamilton intentionally.
For the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
No idea how he did not get a multi-race ban for that, or at least a one-race ban.
Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. Anthony Davidson, a very warm welcome to you as you join me in the commentary box for today's event. Now, we probably ought to start by discussing Pierre Gasly. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Bottas, Sergio Perez, and
Perez
Raikkonen,
inherits
Weber,
5th
Verstappen,
position.
Stroll, and Kevin Magnussen, Grosjean, Sainz, Daniel Ricciardo, and Hulkenberg.
How far down is he going?
Alexander Albon,
There he
and
is,
Devin
16th.
Butler, Russell, and the Professor. And now it's time to head down to the
He's
track.
the only one taking any penalties. Pretty hefty penalties, too.
Keep your eyes open on the run to turn 1 and keep it clean. We want to come out in one piece. Good luck.
Alright. I'm going to be slow to begin with, so I might as well reverse this. Okay, so mediums, onto the softs, 13 laps. Fuel, not something I've messed with too much, just the ERS, and I was getting pretty good at balancing when to use the ERS and when not, when to harvest and when to utilize to be a little bit faster. That's part of the area where I was picking up, a good second. But with that, I start on those mediums, and I do not want any on-track collisions early on, so I will sit back a little bit for the start, so I'll probably be a little slow off the line. It's pretty tight down to turn 1. I definitely do not want to pull a Daniel Ricciardo on Max Verstappen, or like this last race weekend with Sebastian Vettel on Max Verstappen, by braking too late and being a hothead and just taking myself and somebody out on the first lap. So try to just keep it clean. Like to stay in DRS range, but I do have good braking, so it shouldn't be as hard for me to stay close to somebody, but the loss of downforce is not something that I can afford. That's the big problem, following closely, not necessarily the braking. But with that, we're here in Baku. We're going to put up 5 red lights, and we're going to try to make a go of this and see if I can keep a clean race, see if I can avoid... I guess the biggest thing that I'm looking for is to avoid to have very many flashbacks. Just have a clean race, because I have a feeling I'll be towards the back. And the best I can hope for is some DNFs. Or at least keep cars in sight for a while, because certainly through most of practice... I was just letting cars by because I just was well off the pace. And dang it, like I said, F1 2018, I was good here. This was my best finish. But with the understeer that you get here in F1 2019, I heard that there's a patch coming that's going to update this in the next couple of weeks. And they're going to up the performance levels a bit of all the cars. Ultimately, their first rendition of the cars, their first setup that they had, was assuming that the regulation changes were going to have a bigger impact on the cars. And so actually they slowed all the cars down by about 1.5 seconds a lap. The new update's going to give that 1.5 second back to match the realistic performance, and most of that's going to come in more downforce throughout the car, not just front wing. So they'll still be a bit understeery, but not as much as they are now. And we'll see how that impacts my racing going forward, because obviously the Williams is the most understeery car of all, so it is very tough to get around these corners without a lot more braking than was required last year. But I love that I get the extra traction. It's just for a track like this, it's got a bigger impact. But let's not delay any further. Let's go racing. Alright, pretty good start. Not far behind here. Really careful through there to make sure I don't take anyone out, and I'm actually up 2 positions. Lift in a little early, giving myself extra room. My teammate goes to the inside. Puts me back to last place, but that's okay. I'd rather be clean than be in 19th. I know in the long term Russell is definitely faster than I am. Okay, here's where I really start to lose time. I have so much trouble making that corner right there. That's my hardest corner.
Now for the rest of the race.
Alright, so I relinquished 19th under careful braking. But you could see we hit this straight. I made no mistake going into that final corner, and yet they just pull away from me here. This is where I really lose time. Through the rest of the track, I'm now more or less able to keep pace, but I know as time goes on, they'll pull away a little bit more. But I tend to gain a little bit through here. That was not a very good turn one. A little too late on the brakes. You can see I've closed it back down somewhat. Sector 1, I'm pretty good. It's Sector 2, where it's difficult, and I struggle to keep pace. Some laps are better than others, and it's a lot better than it was. That's what I've improved so much from the first practice. But then Sector 3 is just what kills me. They just pull away. So I've closed them back down a little bit this lap. See, I can't turn. I can't make that turn. I've definitely noticed if I hit it early. Oof, this was terrible. This was how actually early practice was. It's this full fuel load now. It's even tougher to make those turns. And I'm on the mediums, not on the softs. Lost a little bit in there. It's going to make this final Sector 3 that much worse. Lewis Hamilton still holding the lead. Car's just in sight. They cross the start-finish line, and I'm still well back at the...
DRS is now enabled and will be available to use when you are within 1 second of the car ahead in the DRS zone.
See those first 3 turns. How much I've gained.
reduce the ERS deployment, please? We need to charge the battery.
Yes, we do. Thank you for not forcing me into using a flashback there. A damaged wing is the worst thing around this track. Ooh, Botas is out.
Yellow flag. Caution, caution, yellow flags ahead. No overtaking through the caution zone. Be careful until you see the greens.
There he is off turn 1 there. In the runoff area.
Green flag.
And there you go, P19. Objective met. Oh. I got turned down. I got slowed down way too well. One corner I used to have a lot of problems with, and that was the exact problem that I kept having. I just did it again. Better through the castle section that time. But these guys are just about out of sight now. Just catching glimpses. So they've pulled away a little bit further, but not as much as it was before. A lot of those cars are going to be on softs. Russell had gone ahead of Butler there for a little bit, but Butler's gone back ahead of Russell here.
Approaching the pit window, you'll be on the softs.
Much better. Also much better there. That was close. Turned in a little too early.
Seconds.
So 4.5 seconds behind. It's now Alexander Albon who's ahead of me. So Russell's hanging in there. He's staying competitive. He's staying right in the back of the field, and he has made some moves. It's now Raikkonen. Oh, thank you, Max, for coming out ahead of me. I do not want to deal with you having to pass me. Ooh, lost a lot of downforce there. End up with DRS. It's Perez right behind me.
The car ahead is coming to fit the mediums. Car ahead, now running medium tyres.
Definitely feeling the loss of downforce. Perez very much close behind now. And up under my gearbox. Hopefully he waits till the straight to make a move. Ah, shoot.
Be careful with the front wing. You've taken some minor damage.
Lap 6. One more lap till I was going to come in. Hopefully I can make one more lap. A few corners that are going to suddenly be a real problem. Two of them are coming up right now. Got through there, okay. Got through there, okay. Alright, Perez is going to go by.
We can't sustain this level of damage.
Unfortunately, I don't get the DRS. So he waits to go by till now. Oh, it's Raikkonen going by first. Perez behind me.
We're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can.
He's got my inside. Just ease out of it. Let him through. I don't need the battle. Oh, come on. There you go. Oh, again, I don't want that damage. Can we get through without that damage, please? Why is he so slow through there? Braking earlier and earlier.
Some information on Hulkenberg. It looks like the problem is terminal.
There's Hulkenberg. He's out. That'll be one more position. By the way, I passed some more cars in the pits. P13 at the moment. Stroll's behind me.
Okay, gap ahead is 1.7 seconds.
A little bit of a gap to him. Ah, come on, I can't get around that corner with this wing. I couldn't get around. That's the wing that did the damage in the first place, but...
Our tyre data is looking positive so far. We think there's plenty of life left in these
Oh!
at the moment.
I gotta replace the wing anyway, so
Suggest we box to
it's all good.
check your MFD for a new strategy option. Copy that.
Slow it up through there that time. Ooh, that was close. I barely made it. Okay, these guys go by. Ooh, please give me DRS. Oh, it didn't give me the DRS. He was just ahead. There's Leclerc, Stroll. Okay, we're gonna have the extra stop time because of the damage to the wing. I'm already down to P18 before I even get into my box. So that 4.5 second gap has absolutely grown. Guess we're a little slow.
Complete, go now.
11.5 seconds.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
Alright, so fuel load's a bit lighter. Got the better, more grippy tires on. So we'll see if we can do a little bit more than we could before. New wing. Of course, I'm further behind, so now it's just running the clock. Still warming the tires up though, and certainly noticeable. Struggled through a few corners.
There's 5 laps of fuel remaining.
Held very steady on the fuel load, so that's been good. I've used essentially exactly 1 lap for every 1 lap. Little good through the first turn, slow through the second part of the chicane there. Still struggling through there.
So I expect they fixed whatever the problem was.
Who is speeding up again? 20 seconds down to George Russell, by the way. So I've lost 15 seconds. I, of course, lost... Oh! I was not looking, and that was not the area to do that. Turned in on myself. Alright. From there. So 20 seconds down to George Russell. Like I said, 9 seconds of that, right, would be the pit stop time.
Is 20.4 seconds.
So 20.4, that's the marker. From now on, I should be running good laps. Tires are warm. Should be getting the most out of them. Saved up that ERS so I can start using some ERS.
There's 4 laps of fuel remaining. Let's use some of this energy. Increase the ERS deployment.
Scrape the side a little bit. Used a little too much of the edge of the wall there. Alright, we'll see how I'm doing on time. It's Sainz ahead of me. So Russell has made a move over Sainz. 21 flat. So from 20.4 to 21 flat, I'm still losing 6/10. Of course, that wasn't a perfect lap, but still, that was about an average lap. Slowed down way too early that time. Not too late that time. Oh, and see what happens when you're too late through there? Messes up that whole chicane. That's where I had really been losing a lot of time before. Oh, can't turn that corner if you... Is that tire wear? I don't think that would be the tire wear. Yeah, no, it's not. That was just late braking. That was better. Well, my goal was to not use very many flashbacks, and I'm at, what, 4? 5? So, not so good on that front. Pace is still half a second off from where everybody else is, which... But still, that's a lot better than the 2 seconds that I had been off the pace, but in practice early on. So it's still a second and a half better per lap than where I was. But this car, just, it's a beast. So much understeer. And I had to give up so much straight line pace to get rid of some of that understeer, but it's still, even now, it's still got a fair amount of understeer, and it's still difficult to get around a lot of these corners. That's why these first 3 corners that are wider 90-degree corners aren't too bad. That 4th corner right there, it's okay, but it's when you get to here that it starts getting really tough. You gotta take a lot more speed off than you had to in F1 2018. Especially right here. This was not an easy corner in F1 2018, but it's a damn near impossible corner in the Williams. Now. And like this, I could go pretty quick through here. Not now. Fighting tooth and nail.
We need to push now. Set ERS deployment to overtake. ERS to overtake.
I will on the straight. Please, thank you. About to head into the last lap of the race. Looks like I will be finishing in P18 today.
This is your final lap of the race. Excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down.
Hamilton hangs on to win from pole.
Less than a lap of fuel now. The tank is empty.
Okay, I've cut the gap down. It's been a really good lap. I only got DRS once the whole race. Finished P18, but I did gain time there. Final 2 laps. That was good. I cut the gap down a bit. We'll see what the final gap was. It was 18 seconds the last check there.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows.
And that would bring me closer than where I was when I came out of the pits at the end. So that's
I feel like
a good final stint.
Today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap.
Exactly. There's being quick lap after lap after lap, and that's not me, not yet.
And that's an approach that can push you a long way up.
Perez manages to stay up there in 4th after his P5 start. Bottas, of course, was one of those cars ahead of him.
A real team victory today.
Vettel 2, Verstappen 3.
Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
I know Bottas was out of there. What happened to Gasly? Oh, that's right. Gasly started down the order after part changes. Grid penalty.
Let's have a quick look at how the driver standings have changed. Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the
Gets up
Drivers'
to 7th.
Championship. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I'll probably go for Pierre Gasly. The team
Look
did
at
a
the time
good job
difference.
with a strategy to put him in amongst the pack, but it's the driver's job to capitalise on those opportunities, and he did so with a lot of skill.
Let's move on
9
to the
milliseconds.
constructors. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. Meanwhile, good work from Racing Point this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to
18.2.
join us for the next one.
18.2, and my best lap there at the end was better than George Russell's best lap. So, 3/10 better, and I closed that gap down, and Russell sadly went behind Sainz there at the end. He had been ahead of him. So, it's not all bad. It's not all bad. I mean, that's Carlos Sainz in the McLaren that I was just 18 seconds down on. And remember, I was 20.4 when I came out of the pits. Had a couple laps that were a little sketchy and I dropped some time, but I definitely gained time in the final 2-3 laps of the race. And all of these guys were all within about 10 seconds, all the way up to 9th place of Russell. In fact, only 8 seconds to 10th place, Lando Norris. So, no, not a performance to write home about, but if we're talking Russell versus Kubica, right? On average, Kubica's been about a minute and a half down to George Russell. Race after race after race after race after race after race this season. So 18 seconds down, I'd be beating Kubica if this were real life. I'd be beating Kubica by a good minute. Not where Russell is. But Russell's not even where Russell is in real life because Russell has not been up near the field except a couple races. Which, by the way, he's not getting credit for. They continue to forget about Williams at the back. Last race out, Russell finished ahead of... Who did he finish ahead of? Oh gosh. Was it a Toro Rosso? I think Albon was up the grid a bit. He was ahead of somebody. Alright, in the standings, it's Hamilton, 14 points clear of Leclerc. Vettel moves up to 3rd. Bottas drops to 4th. Verstappen, Gasly, 5th and 6th. Perez in the Racing Point, now best of the rest in 7th after that outstanding performance. We sit on 15 cars that have scored points. Russell has yet to score. Albon, Sainz still has not scored points, and Devin Butler. In the Constructors, Still just one of 2 teams yet to score. McLaren with 3 points on the season, even though they have the 4th best car. Haas, Alfa Romeo, Renault, and Racing Point all very close to one another. Just 8 points separating 4th from 7th. And just 7 points separating Mercedes and Ferrari at the top. Mercedes retaking the Constructors' lead after this race win by Lewis Hamilton. But that's going to do it for this episode on Decathlon Gamer. And remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe and tune in next time on my road to the record. Picked up some good points here.
Excellent result today.
Ooh,
Finishes
contract
like that will look
negotiation.
good on your contract reviews.
Stall the
On to
end of
the
the
next
episode
one.
a little bit. Alright, we definitely want to stick with 1919.
It's time for us to renegotiate.
Oh, no thank you. No thank
Here you
you.
can see the current deal. Once
Oh,
negotiations
no, I
begin, the
don't
team will
want
make you an
A
offer.
hard goal.
You can accept if you like, but I strongly suggest we push for better terms.
Probably stick with the second driver here. With minors.
Our proposal has been
Oh,
accepted.
hey, it worked.
The new contract
Okay.
will take effect from the next race weekend.
Alright, there you go. We got a couple things out of it. Apparently I could have left that race bonus on level 3. Bye for now.